Good morning. As you can see, we are back here in Old Delhi. Specifically, the plan for today starts at this area called Sitaram Bazar within Old Delhi. I'm not sure if you noticed earlier, but there were that group of people that was sitting right on the road by the roadside. This is a very common sight, especially in Old Delhi. Wow, look at that. So this will be the specialty of today. We'll look at lots of pretty houses and Havelis, which are these palatial houses of Old Delhi, hundreds of years old. I should not say hundreds, but they're definitely like, let's say 200 or 300 years old, and they're very beautiful and they're built in that Mughal architecture. But yeah, going back to my previous topic, those people are actually daily laborers and they're sitting there so that somebody would actually hire them for the day. Another pretty door of Old Delhi. We are still in Sitaram Bazar. And this one, of course, is the older, the more authentic Old Delhi door.
नहीं अंकल जी हम चलेंगे आप कोई बात नहीं आप जाइए नहीं थैंक यू सो मच अंकल जी
I feel like I'm almost letting him down there.
बस अंकल जी यहीं से ही ठीक है
I'm not sure if you noticed there, but he was actually calling us in, like inside his house, and offering us tea because he thought we are journalists and we'll report on the sewage problems in his house and in his locality. But I think I've let him down a little bit. So this thing about Old Delhi is that besides the places where the king lived, who was Shah Jahan, a lot of his noblemen also lived in these mini palaces or Havelis. So yeah, earlier I was saying that a lot of the noblemen actually lived in these mini palaces, which are called Havelis, and they are also a very special part of Old Delhi today. They're not very well maintained, but you get that sense of history even from these houses. So now we are a little further north of Sitaram Bazar. This area is called Chawri Bazar. And as you can see, the houses here are also very old. Unfortunately, they're in a bad shape, lacking maintenance. But these houses or these Havelis are also part of the old history of this area of Shah Jahanabad. And this is how our walk today will be. We'll walk around and look at these nice houses and Havelis. So I think, unfortunately, that's the reality of Old Delhi, that unless somebody points out you don't really notice what is special and what is historical. So as is often the case, you've seen this in the previous videos, we get hungry as we walk. So we are grabbing some nice hot tea. And I think in Old Delhi I usually prefer things which are well cooked and well heated, because it always makes sure that the food you're eating is also safe to eat. So after our hot tea, we are still generally in the Chawri Bazar area. Specifically, this is an area that's close to Nai Sarak, which is a big lane here in the area. And wow, look at that. The intricate patterns and designs on these doors. And the history of these Havelis, or these palatial houses, is actually intertwined with the Mughal history of Shah Jahanabad. While the city was laid down 400 years ago, these houses were built starting from that period for many hundreds of years later. Alright, so we'll keep walking because these are not like well-defined landmarks. We are just randomly trying to walk around and explore and try to find those interesting historical Havelis of Shah Jahanabad. So we are still very much in the Chawri Bazar area, but we are trying to go further north and we'll see where we end up. We'll probably reach close to this area called Dharampura, but we'll see what we find. Nice, I like that color. That's another Indian god called Sai Baba. So that's the element of mystery about today's walk. As you can already see, also requires some patience, I think. But yeah, we'll just be together, we'll keep walking and we'll keep exploring whatever we see in these narrow lanes of Old Delhi. So I think directionally I was generally right. We are now heading towards this area called Dharampura. Oh my god. Wow, look at that. So as you can see, this of course looks like an old Haveli of somebody very rich and very influential. Of course, it's not being maintained as well as it should, but you can still feel how magnificent and grand this place must have been. Wow. I think that was one of the best finds of today till now. We'll see what more we find. So let's keep walking, and that looks like another main road in this area, the Dharampura area. So I think if you see people crowding up before 9 a.m. actually, then you should understand that the place is famous. This looks like a famous place serving hot Indian sweets as well as spicy things, I suppose. It's not something we'll eat as of now, and I'll tell you why. Oh my god, shall we? Let's do this. Oh my god, I think this is like so narrow that even a human can barely enter. You have to be a lean human like me. Maybe tuck in your shoulders and take a deep breath, tuck in your stomach as well, and come inside, walk with me. But yeah, anyways, I was talking about the reason we'll not eat those sweets. Interesting. I wonder how the people who live here would be managing through that super narrow entrance. Wow. I mean, how would they get their refrigerator and their washing machine? Wow. That's the mystery of Old Delhi. So yes, the food. So I think I usually avoid oily / unhealthy foods early in the morning, because my observation has been whenever you eat those things in Old Delhi, you end up feeling lazy and sleepy, and you cannot really enjoy the walk. And that's why we'll not eat that, and I'll also make sure you don't eat that. That kind of stuff. Wow, this is another very beautiful one, and it's actually converted into a religious place now. I'm not super sure of its history, but looking at the design, which is the common design that we've seen, wow. I get a sense that this is of the same period, and you can see that sense of Mughal architecture in the design as well. I wish I was a little more knowledgeable of these architectures, but I think this definitely has a whiff of Mughal in its architecture. This one probably slightly less Mughal because of that clean curvature, but wow, it's so pretty. I should say beautiful, actually, not just pretty, because that element of history makes it deeper and therefore beautiful rather than just pretty. And wow, that looks almost European. I don't know why that like reminds me of Goa or like Portuguese architecture. So that's interesting. You've got some interesting mishmash of history and architectures there. But yeah, I think this will be a long walk, and I don't want the video to be a super long video. So maybe we could do this in 2 parts, and I'm gonna take a break just about now, and we'll continue the walk in the next video, exploring these wonderful bits of history, these Havelis and lanes of Old Delhi. I'll catch you. Bye.